If you find yourself saying, "We would do X," or "We always did Y," you may be falling into the trap of writing about habitual experiences in a bland and undetailed way. This is a short video designed to give you some strategies to make your writing more specific and less generic. Let's look at a couple examples. The first example says, "When I was little, I would go down to the creek and catch crawdads. I would try to catch them, but they would always scurry away. I finally figured out how to do it by being more patient." This example has all the telltale signs of an overly generic piece of writing. Notice phrases like "would go" and "would try" and "would always scurry." When you see the words "would" and "always," it usually means that you are describing something that happened a lot, so many times that it is hard to remember one specific time that you did it. It was habitual. It happened over and over. Sometimes it's okay to speak in generic habitual terms, of course, but the problem with always doing it is that you lose the opportunity to focus on details. Here's a second example. One sunny day, I was down at the creek, exploring as I frequently did at that age. Peering into the water, I saw a black, shiny claw and the long antenna of a crawdad. Without pausing to think, I reached in erratically, scaring it away. It scuttled under a rock. "Darn! Damn!" I cursed under my breath, glad my parents weren't there to hear. Then I took a breath and decided to take my time. This time, I would have a plan. In this example, instead of talking about it habitually and saying I would always do X, Y, and Z, I turned all those experiences into one single event. Yes, it happened many times, but to make it more dramatic and specific, I had to imagine one specific time that it happened. When you write about something that happened habitually, I suggest that you write about one representative memory and borrow tidbits from many of those different experiences. Combine many moments into one single representative experience. I did this for an essay about hiking with my kids, piecing together memories from a variety of hikes over one summer so that it became this perfect representative of what it was like hiking with my kids at that age. But I set it on the Bench Lake hike over Redfish Lake and pretended like all those things happened in that one hike, rather than more spread out over a full summer. That essay was eventually published in Idaho Magazine, by the way. This means that you will be writing in a more active way. I mentioned to avoid using "would always." Another strategy is to use first-person present tense, imagining yourself living one of those habitual experiences in the moment. When you do that, it puts you in more immediate touch with sensory details. You can work in surprises more easily because you are writing from a perspective without awareness of what's coming. Let's look at a couple more examples. Writing in the generic/habitual vein gives you access to some memories like this. "I would always run through the meadow on bright sunny days. I was always able to find a hiding spot in the boulders." But what happens if you try to convert that same memory into first-person present tense? "I am running through the meadows. The sun is shining on my shoulders. I come to a clearing with a pile of boulders. I scramble over their gritty surface and discover a small cave tucked in the midst of the boulders. The perfect hiding spot." I find it so much easier to write with sensory details and dialogue when I'm writing in the first-person present tense. Just so you know, this is an example of inventing the truth, which you read about in William Zinsser's essay, Writing About Yourself, last week. It might not have happened exactly the way you write it, but it is still true to your experiences, especially on an emotional level. It also becomes more interesting for your readers because you bring them into the moment, rather than talking about it from a distance. Finally, I want to end by saying that habitual experiences and the phrase would always are not outlawed. If you use habitual writing with intention and purpose, then it can be an effective way to convey memories. The problem is when that's the only way you go about writing the past. Writing in the first person with specificity and detail pulls your writer into the past with you.